Hello and welcome. I am Ellie Pascal, and this is the Doing It Deliciously embodiment retreat where you're opening to your work, rest, healing, and play, and finding out what happens when you truly do things your body's way. Because our bodies hold the key, and we've been mistrusting them for millennia, pushing on, numbing up, and living disconnected from our true needs. And it's insanity. Our bodies are crying out for ways of doing life that feel like love, ways that put them back in the driving seat, ways that feel like ease, like flow, like rest, like health, vitality, juiciness, and joy. And so, in this space, you're going to feel and reconnect to your embodied compass to bring more of these kinds of deliciousness into every level of your life. And I'm so happy to say that here to support you to do exactly that right now, we have Frances Goodall. Welcome, Frances.
Thank you, Ellie.
Mm. Oh, Frances is a friend of mine. We have moved and danced in embodied spaces in the north of England over the past several years. And Frances, what you bring to the world by being and by doing your work is really important and really powerful and really needed. Thank you so much for doing it. And for those of you who haven't met Frances before, I'm gonna say a few words now that will help you to get to know her. Frances is a coach, trainer, speaker, founder, and co director of the Women's Wellness Circle, mother, and an author. Over 5 years, she went from housebound with chronic fatigue to running half marathons. And she's since spent over a decade dedicating her life to supporting hundreds of women to recover their health. Frances is an IFS practitioner, an advanced emotional freedom technique practitioner, a Gupta amygdala retraining coach, a sex, love, and relationship coach, and a health recovery coach specializing in supporting women to heal from chronic illness. Thank you so much for being here with us right now, Frances.
Oh, it's really great to be here with you, Ellie. Thank you for having me on.
Mm.
Yeah, fabulous, great event.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a space in which the body comes first. So we're going to begin now with a beautiful embodiment practice guided by Francis. Francis, can you let us know anything that we should do or anything that we need to know before we begin?
So we're going to do a manifestation session through pleasure. There will be the invitation for self-pleasure if your system feels open to that, that feels right today, or you can simply be working with your breath and your awareness and your presence. And it's great to come into the session with an intention for what you want through this session. So it could be, say, a goal that you have around your health or your work or a relationship goal, something you want to call in. And but I will guide that as part of it as well. I'll guide that when I'm talking when we're going through the session. So you don't have to necessarily have that ready right now. And also to say it's for the practice, it's great if it's something that you can really get your belief behind now and you believe that you can have this or experience this or manifest this in your life. And if you don't, there may be other practices to do first to get to this point of doing this practice fully. And yeah, and that's it really. Yeah.
Okay, great. So pick something that feels possible in the body. Have I
Yes.
understood? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Does it matter if we are sitting or lying or how we are?
No, whatever you feel, definitely sitting or lying, I would say, rather than standing, unless at any point you just really feel like you want to stand up for a short while. But yeah, sitting or lying, I would recommend for the practice as a starting point at least. And you can flow with your body, flow how it wants to move really as well through the session. Yeah.
Okay. Yum. Thanks, Fran. Let's go.
Great. All right. So I'm going to invite, before we actually start the practice, I'm just going to invite us to stand up and just do a little bit of shaking together, just to kind of get into your body and just to move out anything that's just ready just to let go of through a bit of shaking. So So yeah, an invitation to stand up for this bit and just to start to shake your body. And perhaps starting to sigh and release any sounds on the out breath. You may also bring your arms up and shake your arms above you, above your head. And a nice thing to do to release any energy or stagnation in your system is to sort of build up any stress you might be carrying into your hands, and then on an out breath, just breathing it out into the ground beneath you. And an invitation also to bring some circling into your hips, some movement into your hips. Go the other way as well. As you circle your hips, see if you can connect to your sexual energy. See if you can welcome your sexual energy to be flowing, to awaken, to move through your body, to start to move through your body. You might have one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Okay, and then just having a nice yawn and stretch, bringing some stretch into your body. Oh. Oh. And perhaps just a little bit of rotation as well of your spine. Oh. Oh. Okay. You're gonna sit down in your own time or come to a lying position. Unless you really feel core to stay stood up for a little while. Okay, so to begin with, I'd like you to dream into what's your intention through this practice. Is there anything you want to manifest in your life in the coming weeks, in the coming months? It could be like, for example, something around your business, if you own a business, what you want to manifest, perhaps in terms of clients or income. It could be something in your health. I want to be at a certain point of health. I want to be able to walk for half an hour or something like that. Could be in your love life, like I want to call in a relationship by the end of this year. So just allow yourself to dream into some intentions. If you wanted to journal on them briefly, you could do, or just dreaming into them internally. What's your intention? Or what's an intention that you'd like to support to call forth through this practice today? And just when you can connect to an intention you want to work with today, of course, as a practice you can repeat over and over with different intentions, but choosing one for today. And it could also be around, I want to manifest more peace in my life or more well-being, but also perhaps something specific as to what that will feel like in your system or what that will look like in your life. And it's also great if it's something that you can also go into with all your senses. Imagine that you're already there. And what would you see around you when you have realized this intention or manifested this particular dream of yours? What might you see around you? What might you hear, smell, taste? What might your skin be touching? Really see if you can go into it with all of your senses in your imagination. And also just double checking that this intention feels in alignment with your North Star. So that's your deepest sense of truth, perhaps, or deepest wisdom, the deepest love. So just checking it just feels in alignment for you to manifest this dream. And you also want to double check that you actually believe that you can manifest this dream about at least a 7 out of 10 or more. And if you don't, you might want to just change it slightly, or you could work on that, perhaps pausing this practice to work on that with other tools like EFT or energy medicine or any tools you have to support yourself in getting your belief on board in yourself and in your dreams. And then when you're ready, an invitation to close your eyes if you haven't already, or have a soft gaze in front of you, and to start to bring some gentle pleasure to your body. And that can just look like some really gentle stroking of your skin, stroking of your hair, stroking of your body. It's bringing some pleasure into your body. Welcoming pleasure. Pleasure as our birthright. Pleasure as a signal for safety in our body and in our nervous systems. Pleasure to support us in finding more enjoyment and fulfillment in our lives. Really welcoming pleasure into your system. You might also massage your chest area. Welcoming pleasure. Just take a moment to really drop your awareness into your body from the crown of your head, the tips of your toes, really connect into your body. You might also want to again just explore rotating your hips a little bit. If you can welcome your pleasure as your sexual pleasure and aliveness as your life force energy. It's energy that can nourish you and actually support your healing and your growth and your expansion, your empowerment. Sending a nice smile through your whole body. And now we're going to connect right into the root of your body, right into the area of your perineum, the root of your body, your root energy center. You can breathe in and out of this area of your body in your imagination. Also imagining that you're drawing up strength and energy and nourishment from the ground beneath you. On an in-breath and an out-breath, you're letting go of anything that's not serving you from the root of your body into the earth. And also an invitation, if it feels comfortable, to work with self-pleasure in this area of your body, to work with pleasure, touch, to work with your sexual energy, to bring pleasure to your body. Welcome your pleasure, welcome your aliveness, welcome your sexual energy to be here, to expand, to grow. Or you can just simply work with your awareness in this center, your breath, your presence. Building up your energy here, your presence here, your arousal here if you're working with sexual energy. And then bringing your awareness up your spine a little bit to the back of your sacrum area and through that area of your body to the front and back down the front of your body. So on an in-breath, you're breathing your awareness from the root of your body. And on an out-breath, you're breathing it through your body and down back to the root of your body. And you're creating this little circuit of energy with your imagination, with your awareness, with your presence, moving through these areas of your body. So just inviting an activation now of this second energy center connected with your sensuality, connected with your creativity, connected with your relationships and your joy. So see if you can really invite your awareness to flow into this area of your body. You might even put your hand over this area of your body. Might bring some pleasure to this area of your body with your touch. This root center connected to safety and a sense of belonging, to this second energy center now, connected to your joy and your creativity and your sensuality. Practice, you can work with your awareness and your breath, or you can work with self-pleasure. And the only invitation with self-pleasure is if you are going for an orgasmic experience during this, to save that until your awareness is right at the crown of your head, which is we'll come to later. Okay, now we're going to work with bringing our awareness up the spine, all the way to the solar plexus area, below the rib cage at the front, but you're going to bring your awareness up your spine to the back of this area of your body and through, and then back down the front of your body on an out breath, back to the root of your body. And again, reminder, you can work with movements as we're doing this, or you can be still, whatever feels right. You can work with sound. If there's any sounds that want to come, perhaps on an out breath, you can work with touch, whatever feels good to your system right now. You're activating this center. You might also feel into the air all the way to the just below your belly button as well. It's the center of your being, connected to your personal power, your vulnerability, your feelings, your personal will, your identity. So activating this center with your breath, with your awareness, with your pleasure, with any pleasure that's available in your system. Breathing up your spine on an in-breath and back down the front of your body on an out-breath, back to the root, and then back up to this area of your body. Third energy center, third chakra. As you connect here, you may even remind yourself of your intention for this practice. What's your intention? What do you want to manifest? What's your desire to support getting your whole system on board for through this practice today? And if you want to go a bit deeper with the practice, you could explore doing some connected breaths. So that's where, and I'm just going to say through the nose for today, but just breathing in and out without a pause between the out breath and the in breath and the in breath and the out breath. Just perhaps do a few breaths like that to explore that. Or it could be in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can come back to that if that feels good, or just go back to your normal breath. And then an invitation now to come up to your heart center. You may massage around your heart center, or bring your hands here and just activating this center. So bringing your awareness all the way up through your spine and then through your heart and back down the front of your body on an out breath. Activating our heart center, connected with our capacity for giving and receiving love. Again, you can work with sound, you can work with movement, you can work with touch. Perhaps feeling into if you feel in the right position, or if you want to change position, if you're lying, if you want to sit up or even be on hands and knees. Or if you want to move to lying. Or even if you want to stand up for a short period in this practice, feeling what feels right in your body today in this moment. So activating this heart center. You may also send a loving wish for your intention from your heart. Fueling your intention with your love, with your heart. You're working with self-pleasure, you may be building your pleasure here, but really also bringing that pleasure up to your heart center. Knowing it's even possible for us to have an orgasm in our hearts. It's really building your pleasure in your heart, building your awareness in your heart, building your presence here. It's a powerful center in our being, our heart centers. And now we're going to move up a bit further into our throat. So bringing your awareness up the whole of your spine to your throat and then out through your throat, back down the front of your body and then back up to your throat and creating this circuit of energy, of awareness, of activation, of pleasure. And also a reminder, you can sound, a great place to release anything that needs to be released through sound as you bring your awareness here. The center connected to your capacity to express yourself with your voice, to speak your truth, to your higher genius potential. Activating this center with your awareness, with your presence, with your breath, with your pleasure. It's available to you. And again, a reminder to follow the impulses in your body, like my body suddenly wanted to shake a little bit. So I'm following that and allowing that through as I connect here. But what does your body want to do? You can work with a connected breath if that feels good to you and safe to your system today. You might also explore here speaking out what you most desire, speaking out your intentions, speaking out what you want to manifest, speaking out your dream. And now we're bringing our energy all the way from the root of our bodies. When you're ready, moving up to the forehead area, the third eye center, sort of just between your eyebrows, a little bit in. You can breathe your awareness all the way up to near the top of your head and through the top of your head, and then back down the front of your body, all the way down to the root of your body, to your perineum, and then on in-breath, breathing back your awareness up through your spine. Now you're activating your third eye center, connected to your higher brain centers and your intuition and your deeper knowing and your deeper wisdom. Activating this center with your presence, with your pleasure, with aliveness, with your breath. As you connect here, you may vision what it is you most want to call forth. Vision your desire. See yourself realizing your vision. If you're working with your sexual pleasure, you may be building your arousal here, building the pleasure that's available in your system. This is also a practice that can support your system to be more open to more cosmic sexual experiences, more fully embodied, more energetic, orgasmic states. So really welcoming your pleasure now to expand through your body, to come all the way up to this third eye center, to your higher brain centers, nourishing this area of your body with pleasure, with breath, with presence. And also it can help with the energetic flow to have your tongue to the roof of your mouth, to help your energy flow up to this area of your body and back down the front of your body, which is important for your grounding. And again, a reminder to follow your impulses if you want to bring touch to your body, if you want to build yourself pleasure, if there's any sounds that want to be released on out breaths, if there's any movements that your body wants to make, if your body wants to change position, if you want to work with the breath consciously and connected, or following the breath rhythm that feels good and alive to you today. And now an invitation to bring your awareness to the crown of your head. And you can just center your awareness here for a moment. Your connection to all that is, your connection to the universe, your connection to deeper love. And just really bring your awareness here. And as you bring your awareness here, an invitation now to also go into what you want to manifest, go into your desire, go into your intention with all of your senses. Again, what will you see when you're there? When you're there, what will you smell? Be creative. What could you smell? What could you taste? What might your skin be touching, or how might you feel in your body when you're there? What might you hear? Just go into all your senses of your intention and your desire, what you want to manifest. And if you're working with sexual pleasure, an invitation to go into an orgasmic state, to welcome an orgasm if you would like to go there today. It can be more like an energetic orgasm or just a highly positive, connected state. And then when in your own timing, you can send that intention off from the crown of your head into the universe, sending your intention off. You may want to raise your arms above your head if that feels good, sending your intention off into the universe, sending your desire off, what you want to manifest off, sending it into the universe. May it be so. Just sitting with that for a little while. In your own timing, sending that intention, that manifestation off into the universe. Oh, and then in your own timing, you can gradually just start to relax and soften your body and really bring that intention back in. And may it be so, bringing it into the crown of your head, into your third eye center, and back down through every cell of your body into your throat, center, into your heart, into your solar plexus area, third energy center, into your second chakra area, sacral area, and right into the root of your body, into your perineum area, and right down, all the way through, right down to the soles of your feet, every cell of your body, every system of your body, every organ of your body. and right out into your energetic field around your physical body. Just really welcoming it back in. And if you need to let yourself know, I'm worthy of this, I deserve to realize this dream. That's in alignment with a deeper truth that not only serves me in living my most optimal life, but is also a support to others to live theirs and support to all. So just in your own time, you may bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly, and just taking some conscious breaths and leaving some space to integrate that practice and that experience into your being on the different levels, on the level of your body, your feelings, your parts, your mind, your energy, your soul, and your spirit. Really slowly wiggle your hands, your fingers and your toes, maybe have a bit of a yawn and stretch. Oh. A nice thing as well to do, perhaps now, if you want to pause this or later on the day, is to put on a dance track and just say yes to yourself and yes to your dreams. And you might want to bring your hands together and build up some energy there and place your hands over your eyes and gradually let in the light and gradually open your eyes and come back. Feel your feet, feel your hands, feel your grounding, feel the earth beneath you fully able to take your weight. Hi, Ellie.
Thank you. That was really yummy.
Good, I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, I love holding space because I feel my own system going into quite a sort of very beautiful, expansive, but also grounded state. It's amazing that we can have these kind of quite opening sort of spiritual experiences, but also be quite really grounded. It's, yeah, I don't know, somehow. Yeah. Oh, well,
Right,
it's taken me a long time to learn that, actually, if I'm honest, but yeah.
right, right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, gosh, that was just so yummy. And everyone, as Francis and I now start to move into this more logical space, I do invite you to stay present with your body in whatever way feels most yummy for you. So it might mean that you want to keep your eyes closed, or it might mean that you have hands on your heart space and belly, or simply an awareness of how your breath is to see how what we're saying is landing. And yeah, Francis, as as we were moving through that practice and how yummy it felt in my body, and it kept occurring to me how, this is in a sense a practice with a very practical aim, if I'll use that word, to create something, right? And which is what all the action we take in the world is for, and on one level or another. And how it's such the antithesis of how at least I was taught to do things, whether it be the experience that we usually have if we go to a mainstream doctor, if what we want to do is be more well, or the experience that we have when we're at school, if what we're there with the aim of, whether we want to or not, is to, be a more educated human being, or, how we're going to create something at work or whatever it is. So much of what we've been taught has not been find out how it feels best in your body. Like,
Mm.
let's start with the pleasure, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
and
yeah.
what a different world it would be if it was, or will be when it is,
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
just so curious for you. You've been on this really powerful, important journey of being housebound with chronic illness, chronic fatigue, and coming to where you are now, running half marathons or marathons and running the Women's Wellness Circle and all the other things that you do in your work, being a sex and pleasure coach and all of this. And I'm curious for you how and why really on this journey, this yummy pleasure piece has come in now so powerfully. Why did you bring that in?
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I brought that in really because of my own sort of embodied experience. I certainly held some sexual trauma, and I think that was one of the pieces that led to chronic fatigue, although I think there were other ones as well.
Yeah.
And but I what I found was that I mean, I think it was also connected with having had a Kundalini awakening, but when I healed layers of trauma, I would open up to these more orgasmic and energetic experiences that were just really powerful and healing and pleasurable and amazing. And it was just that was really partly what led me into it and partly what, got me following Lena Martin's work and then ultimately deciding to train with her. Um, so that I partly to give me more tools to be able to then help others kind of have these kind of sexual experiences or awakenings as well, like somehow. So that was kind of really what got me into it. I think it was just like the deep nervous system healing and trauma healing and reducing stress and all of that sort of stuff and parts work that helped me get my physical health back and then heal layers of trauma. It just led me to these like like I felt like what the potential we have as humans to experience states of joy and ecstasy and pleasure, but I wanted to be able to share that with others, like that was kind of where I came from. Yeah.
Right. Of course, right. Absolutely. And I think you've already alluded to this in a sense, but what part do you think pleasure and opening to our pleasure has when it comes to healing our bodies?
Yeah, I want to delve into this more just generally in my work, but I think there's a starting point as well. If there's a lot of shutdown in the system and lack of safety or wounds and that sort of sexual trauma, that sort of thing, then I think it's like going really gently. But even just like simple things like simple pleasures, enjoying the pleasure of looking at a flower or a beautiful sunset, enjoying the pleasure of like skin contact or the pleasure of connecting with an animal or another human in some way, just enjoying simple pleasures and really taking that in as nourishment for our system, as safety and resourcing. And yeah, that it and also changing the priorities of our lives from what we feel like we must do or ought to do or achieve and all of that sort of thing, to actually, if we can infuse our systems with goodness and joy and pleasure, then it will, yeah, not only support us to be healthy physically but also nourish us to come from a more full place in terms of things we feel to do and to be an adult in the world and all those sort of things. Yeah, so
Right, yeah, absolutely. I think, you just said so much there, and that piece of the what we feel that we must do. And um, I think so often, particularly actually if we're considered healthy and able-bodied in the world, the way that society and our culture is structured, it's so easy to be living from a place of, but that's just how life is. Like life is about just being responsible and whatever that, and that means doing a lot of shit that I hate and doing a lot of shit in a way that feels wrong to my body. And I don't know how was it for you, Fran. For me, the journey of healing through chronic illness has very much been one of going, oh, like what feels good in my body is beyond valid. It's not just okay. It's not just allowed to do what feels right and to take some time today or even prioritize my whole day around what feels right or better in my body, which I think is the gift that comes when we have chronic illness. That all of a sudden we might have to do that. We might just have to stop everything else and say, today all I can do is focus on feeling better,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And so then that like glimmer or beautiful shard of sunlight starts to come in when we start to realize, oh, and look what happens in my body when I start to actually ask her what would feel good today, what would feel better today. I'm curious for you in your journey, how that level of experience has unfolded, like how you have learned or how you were taught perhaps by your body or in any way to start to honor your body's rhythms, start to say, okay, like I respect you. There's a physical or a sensational or some kind of a need here, and I'm actually going to honor that today because I want to get well or I want to, you know,
Yeah.
like how did that come in for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, it's interesting. I mean, when I think back to being young, I remember really enjoying just going out into the garden and like enjoying some sunshine or like reading a book in the garden. And I remember those feeling quite precious moments somehow. So I wonder if it was kind of even in me to an extent from when I was young, but was not quite honored enough to then, I still ended up getting chronic fatigue, for example. But like, yeah, like when I was healing chronic fatigue, I was thinking back to this the other day, actually, I'd often go and spend time in my local park, just connecting with nature and so nature, I think for me has been a real source of like simple pleasure and nourishment and connection and healing, and resourcing myself. And then, today again, actually, with working online a lot, I find sometimes if I'm on a screen too much, I can just feel my system's getting a bit frazzled. And just, yeah, by the end of a week sometimes. But then if I can start a day by, say, getting out in the sunshine and having a walk in nature and connecting with trees, it's so different. So really prioritizing what's nourishing, and I guess when I was unwell, I think it took me a while to sort of figure out what was nourishing or what I needed, and to learn the tools like meditation or yoga nidra and simple yoga postures that could help me heal and
Mm.
that sort of thing. Yeah, so that's some of it, I guess. Yeah.
And then how have you found the journey into so yeah, as I asked this question, it makes me realize I don't quite know how the transition looked for you
Yeah.
between um, being a woman who could be called said to have chronic illness to
Yeah.
being well or less ill and then moving back into working, back into a life where there was more demands or schedules and those kinds of
Yeah.
things. How for you that transition happened in a way that, and I make up from what I know of you and what I've seen of your work and things, what I know of your work, that didn't look like you going back just into like bang, 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 and now I disregard my body. It looked
No, no,
right.
I
So
mean, it was
how,
interesting though. There were still more learnings though. Like, for instance, I noticed when I got fully well, I was suddenly like, now I've got to almost pay back for all that time of being unwell, and I need to be of service, and I can go on retreats, but I can only go on retreats if I'm working on the cooking team and I'm helping out, or that sort of thing. And then I noticed that I was in sort of helper and doing patterns quite quickly and had to become aware of actually, no, that's not going to be sustainable. I don't want to be, because I know there are some people who get something like chronic fatigue and ME type symptoms and then get better and then get ill again. Really got to make sure that that doesn't happen, and so therefore continuing to prioritize those things that are nourishing and continuing to do the work on the patterns in me that could have led to getting unwell again. For example, overdoing or overachieving or over helping or avoiding conflict, those kind of patterns that were part of getting unwell in the first place, just being really aware and then keeping prioritizing well-being and pleasure and health and
yeah.
um yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I think what you said there speaks so much to the piece of, there will be women watching this who don't identify as having chronic illness, or there'll be women and men and non-binary beings, who don't have that identification. They're not in that process. So, um, let me find the words here. So for me, you've just outlined what is the gift of chronic illness, as I said, which is that it makes us prioritize the stuff which perhaps we might not give ourselves the permission to prioritize if we didn't have that monkey on our shoulder saying, you don't want to get ill again, or you have to get well. Now, that's not the most kind toned monkey, and that's another issue all in of itself. But the monkey also has that gift. It is the like radical permission, which has come to me, which I see in my clients who have the chronic illness, or what if that nothing is more important to me than how I feel in my body now. Nothing. And as I say that, Francis, I feel this like fire in my heart and my solar plexus. And what I know for myself, again, I see this in many of my clients, is that that was there for me from way before I ever had anything that could be called chronic fatigue in my body. That was there in me as a tiny child, and then it got buried and numbed and suppressed as I grew up and became this very successful, well-mannered, achieving type A young woman who got all the A's and became a successful actress and all of those pieces. Um, that that had already been there. Like that nothing, that very sane knowing, I consider it to be very sane, very clear seeing knowing that nothing matters except how we feel in our bodies,
Mm.
because how we feel in our bodies and how we are vibrating is what gets us on the path of everything else that we need, want, and desire in
Yeah.
our life. It's
Yeah.
what helps us to show up for our children, for our world, to give back. And
Mm.
it's what helps us to be happy, to draw in all the money, all of the physical manifestations, all of the functional relationship, everything that we want starts with, how do I feel in my body in this moment? And this is the insane place that the world's gotten to, where we prioritize our to-do list and our responsibilities before all of that. So
Mm.
I'm curious, yeah, I don't know if this is a question or just a more of saying like it's a for anyone who's watching who doesn't yet have that fire yet of I'm a listen to my body and I don't care what the world says, and I don't have chronic illness, so I don't like have to do it. I just really freaking want to do it. Or you might not have chronic illness, but you may well have like depression now, because so many of us are waking up to the fact that we don't want a life that doesn't serve who we really are, right? So like what would you say to those people to help them have that courage and that heart that I can follow my body and honor what they truly need, and like trust that my life's not going to fall apart, trust that I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I love the passion that you speak to that. I mean, I just say that it's, it's your birthright to thrive in life. It's your birthright to take care of your body in this life. And actually, the more that you do that, the more you can actually be of service to others, the more you can achieve ultimately, But if you're trying to achieve or do from a half empty cup, and you've not filled your own resources and your own your own goodness, your own self-care first, then it's not sustainable for any of us, and it may not show up as chronic fatigue in our, when we're young, like it did for us. It may show up as some other condition later on in life, if you don't take care of yourself. So, it's yeah, vital on many levels, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for those words, Francis. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious if anybody watching right now is oh, this is a really potent question, but also I've just remembered that I want to invite everyone to just take a breath in this moment and remember that you're in a body, right?
Ah,
We've
yeah.
had a lot of words, so it's possible that you may have lost a bit of grounding, or you may have lost a little bit of connection with the fact that you're in this vessel. So just see whether for you want to reconnect with the breath into your heart, or seeing your roots drop into the earth, or connecting as Francis guided us so deliciously to do, to your root, to your perineum, to any other of your energy centers that are really calling you. Um, yeah. And yeah, Francis, this piece that's here with me right now is, if there is anybody taking part who's thinking, okay, so that was a really delicious practice, and I love the notion of opening to pleasure. And when I look at my to-do list, it makes me want to cry today because I want a life that feels, you know, so much more consistently like flow and truth and pleasure, and even just alignment in my freaking sadness when I'm sad, right? Not being numb, basically. How would you invite them to start, so it doesn't feel overwhelming, to begin just gently, gently, that first step of being like, I'm gonna open the portal and let in a little more of that pleasurable body connection into my life. How would you invite them to do that?
Yeah, I would say, well, starting, it depends on where you are, but starting with at least some kind of daily self-care practices, nourishment practices, finding out what it is for your system that most supports you. There's so many tools on offer out there in terms of self-care and different kinds of meditations and yoga practices and dance practices, all these things, but finding out what most nourishes you and having some kind of daily practices that support you in connecting to your body. And also you could bring in some self-pleasure and see self-pleasure as a practice. And depending, that may for women look like some breast massage, the simple power of massaging our breasts, um, or actually making sure you are, pleasuring your own body and making that a priority. And yeah, and getting support if you need it in terms of any blocks, or if you're struggling to connect to pleasure, or to give yourself that time of daily practices to support your health and well-being and your pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I feel like this session, Francis, thank you. It's been this beautiful permission slip to remember the importance of aligning with the body's rhythms and the power of coming to what really feels good and pleasurable. Um and I think that piece there of if there is a block coming up, I again, I don't know how it was for you. For me, a number of the first months and years of doing this kind of healing work with myself was about working with the parts of me that said, it's just not allowed. It
Mm.
just can't, the guilt. It makes me want to make this movement like the guilt, the guilt, the guilt. I can't take time in the morning or in the middle of the day to like rest or take care of and working through those blocks in my body and in my mind. And yeah, and the people might want to come and do some work with you. How can they connect with you? What's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so I have my personal website, which is just my name, francisgoodall.com. I've also on Facebook, Instagram, and then also a YouTube as well. And yeah, then there's also womenswellnesscircle.com as well, in terms of a community for women on the healing path from chronic illness, or simply wanting to connect to more power, pleasure, purpose. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so francisgoodall.com and womenswellness.com,
Circle.com, womenswellnesscircle.com.
circle.com. And I know that there's a gift on your womenswellnesscircle.com site too, right? That people can claim if they.
Yeah, that's around a series in growing and wellness and joy together. And then, yeah, there will be soon a gift on my website, which you'll find a link to below, which will be around pleasure and well-being, some free resources around that.
Okay, perfect. So the Women's Wellness Circle gift is particularly if somebody is journeying with some kind of illness in the body.
Yeah, well, yes, it's particularly aimed at that, but it is also around wellness and joy for all women as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, if you're wanting to claim Francis's free gift around the body connection and the pleasure, look for the link beneath this video and you can click on that and go there. How yummy. Um, yeah, so just one final musing or question before we begin to close, Fran. I'm curious for you if all of us or most of us were living truly connected to our bodies and giving space to prioritize what feels right in them, what feels good in them, inviting them to feel whatever it is we want, whether that's rested or vital or flowing with pleasure. If is when this is how the world looks, how do you think that world will be? Like, what do you think, what will change in our world when we're all more aligned with what feels good in our bodies?
Well, yeah. Well, first, I just want to say to Stephen, you saying that just sort of brought more breath and kind of relaxation into my system, just sort of envisioning this world where this is more normal and mainstream, and everyone's doing it. And what's encouraged in schools and from and from children when they're young, and it just feels so relaxing. It's like,
It really does. My body wants to do this. Like, yay!
So yeah, I feel like what will change in our world is it's just a really just a more enlightened society, a more embodied, compassionate, loving world that takes care of, humans more naturally take care of each other and take care of the planet and the resources. And I just feel like, it could be ultimately so transformative and healing for the whole world. And that, it just gives me some hope for what is possible for humanity in our world, other than, some of what's happening out there, which is not demonstrating that, but I think there's a lot of, yeah,
Right.
unresolved trauma and all of that. So, yeah. Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, such hope for what is possible, right?
mm.
And
Yeah.
it's just occurred to me as I heard you say that. I wonder if there's any words. And do you know what, Francis? It might be that you do have some words around this, but it might be that you just want us to stay with the feeling of it. I'm aware that we did that wonderful orgasmic manifestation practice, and I know that I believe that there's quite a lot of thought around that in terms of why go to that orgasmic state while we focus on what it is that we're creating in our lives. Do you have any words about that? Like, why is that such a powerful thing to do?
Well, I think personally, I just, believe there's something really powerful about connecting to what we most desire and aligning it to like our fullest pleasure and expansive state, something really powerful in terms of that, in terms of actually helping us to manifesting it. And I guess it's really coming from partly because it's like the manifestation of our dreams is coming from that sort of more conscious and full and embodied and high vibrational state, which will support it in becoming a reality and infusing our steps towards it with that those kind of qualities rather than the kind of perhaps pushing doing parts that are like I really need to achieve this or I ought to achieve this or I should achieve this or that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah, absolutely.
fueling our desires with pleasure and with full aliveness, full embodied aliveness and yeah.
Right, absolutely. And it makes the monkey in my stomach want to speak up and be like, guys, this is what they don't teach you in school. Like you don't get what you want by buttoning up and like pushing and working really hard and working and being really good. Like it's the opposite. It's let it flow through your body. And that's not woo. That's,
Yeah.
a metaphysical fact that when we vibrate at the level of what it is we truly desire, then it comes to us.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yum. All right, everyone. Well, so on that note, I'm going to invite all of us to take a breath and ground into what's come through in this session. So, you might want to let your eyes close if they're open. You may want to bring a hand to heart space and belly, or belly and sacrum, base of the back. Again, noticing that you're in this precious body and that you've just been taken on this wonderful journey by Francis. Noticing that we are all taking this journey in the Doing It Deliciously embodiment retreat together in order to bring more ways of doing life that feel truly aligned with what's right in your body, that feel truly right in your body, to make that more and more the delicious norm of your days. And I invite you to ask really kindly and curiously to your body in this moment, is there a piece of guidance coming through, a piece of easeful guidance coming through of how you would really prefer to do this day, this week, this month in a way that's more aligned with your soul, with your body? And this gets to be really, really easy. It's always just the next right thing that feels like love in your body. And there might be something that you feel like you can really go for today or this week. Or it might be something that you just want to allow in just 1%. Just play with 1% of that thing that your body's saying, please give me more of this. And I'm wishing you a totally delicious continued onward journey with this, beautiful ones. I can't wait to see you in the next session. And Francis, thank you so much. Thank you so much for bringing your integrity and your really loving fire and passion to this space. It's been a real gift.
Thank you for having me on. It's been an honor to work with you, yeah, to offer this today with you. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.